Girls have to snatch husbands. Here, if a girl wants to get married, she has to resort to snatching a man. Whenever they see a man, they forcefully drag him home. If they can't manage that, they'll carry him off in broad daylight, and if all else fails, they'll just kidnap him. If girls don't do this, they'll have a hard time ever getting married. There are simply too many women here, and the girls have no choice but to resort to grabbing men. So guys, if you go out, you'd better be careful. Even when girls go out, they move in groups of 3 or 5. The moment they spot a man, they strike immediately. This has led to almost all the boys being too afraid to leave their homes. This is a Miao ethnic county on the border of Yunnan, where women make up a staggering 73% of the population. To address the issue of millions of single women, the local government has set up several large matchmaking markets. Every day, tens of thousands of people flock here. The girls dress up beautifully, hoping to catch a man's eye. Even just a glance would make them happy. What's more, the girls here don't ask for a bride price dowry. In fact, asking for one would be considered shameful. As the number of women continues to grow, almost every girl prepares generous dowries. But even so, it's still hard for them to get married, because there are just too few men. Brothers, the girl's only requirement is that the guy is, well, male. Despite the huge matchmaking market, 95% of the girls go home empty-handed every day. Brothers, these girls are truly pitiful. Many return home and cry silently, worrying every day about never finding a husband. Meanwhile, the boys either hide at home or flee to the mountains. To avoid being snatched, 2 boys practice some self-defense moves. But even that won't save them. Unbeknownst to them, several girls are already lying in wait nearby, even bringing an auntie along to help. As soon as the boys finish training and prepare to go home, 4 girls pounce at once, grabbing them. They drag the boys home, not caring if their shoes fall off. Once caught, there's no letting go. Even if a boy sits on the ground and refuses to move, they'll haul him away by force. Their custom dictates that if a girl manages to bring a boy home, he must marry her, which is why the boys resist desperately. This makes the girls furious. One immediately picks up a big rock and smashes it on a boy's head, knocking him out. Then she does the same to the other boy. With both unconscious, things get much easier. The 4 girls work together to carry the boys home, first one, then the other. To prevent them from escaping after waking up, the girls tie them up, and the wedding can proceed immediately. When the boy's friend hears what happened and tries to rescue them, he too gets surrounded by 4 girls. Now they've got 3 boys in one go. At this point, even if the boys had wings, they couldn't escape. But the Shire girls aren't so lucky. They can only wait in misery every day. So, brothers, if you were dropped into this place, would you still dare to go outside? In Suzhou, on average, 1 man is pursued by 4 women. Right now, in Suzhou's dating market, the gender ratio has reached 1 man to 4 women. If an outstanding man appears, the women competing for him could fill an entire room. And if you're over 170 centimeters tall, have a bachelor's degree and can afford to buy a home in Suzhou, then you're basically a walking hot commodity. Here, you'd have no trouble at all finding a partner.
你知道吗？每个女生啊
Do you know? Every girl actually hopes to be pursued by a guy. Today, I'm going to tell you the real thoughts hidden in our hearts as women. Truthfully, these are all perfectly natural, nothing to be ashamed of. The fact is, every woman needs a man. As the saying goes, nice guys finish last, but at the same time, women are afraid of being laughed at by others, so they keep these feelings secret. That's why you men need to be bold when chasing girls. As soon as the guy's profile was posted, 4 women immediately showed interest. So, what kind of man is actually more in demand? Turns out the guy himself has pretty good qualifications. 34 years old, 178 centimeters tall, graduated with bachelor's and master's degrees from a top-tier 985 university, has experience as an exchange student abroad, works at one of the big 4 banks, and is usually a department head. He's also somewhat handsome. I'd give him a solid 7 out of 10, which is high. However, his weak point is that he's balding in the middle. But generally, his background is decent. He's from a rural family, with some land, and even managed to attend college despite humble beginnings. So, what are his requirements for a partner? He wants a woman under 28 with a stable job, preferably from a 985 university or in a government-affiliated position, since his own overall conditions are quite good. There aren't many men like him registered, so women quickly took notice. The first woman who showed interest was 2 years older than him, a doctor. Her income and job were solid, but the guy felt she was too old, so he didn't consider her. The second was a 27-year-old, 165 centimeters tall, weighing around 55 kilograms, working in a private company. But her job wasn't stable or prestigious enough, so he passed. The third was a 28-year-old working in a government-affiliated role, with a bachelor's degree from a 985 university. She met all his criteria and he was most satisfied with her. They agreed to meet. But then there was a fourth woman who was also interested. At first glance, the man immediately wanted to reject her. Why? She was 26, quite pretty, but her academic background was only from an average second-tier university, and she worked in a private company. At first glance, she didn't seem to match his standards. But this woman was persistent. She kept reaching out, asking us to mediate and help her communicate with the man, hoping for a chance. We were hesitant. It's exhausting to mediate sometimes, but the man initially felt they were not on the same path and didn't want to waste time. However, the woman didn't give up. She said, "Since there's still time, let me just call and talk to him briefly." Her sincerity was evident, so we relayed her request. She just wanted a short phone call to introduce herself. If he wasn't interested, he could hang up any time. Surprisingly, after a 10-minute call, the man's attitude did a complete 180-degree turn. At first, we were even annoyed. Why the sudden change? Later, we found out, although the woman's academic background wasn't impressive, her family background was exceptional. She came from wealth, so she never felt the need to strive for higher education. After graduation, she went straight to help run her family's business. Not only was her family well off, but she was also an only child, meaning their resources could fully support the man after marriage. Suddenly, his earlier insistence on a 985 educated, government-employed woman didn't seem as important. This just goes to show, even if a man has education, looks, height, and a great job, he still has to hustle in today's society. Sometimes marriage is brutally pragmatic. Looks might not matter much, even emotional connection might not be the priority. What really counts are tangible benefits, what you can bring to the table. Marriage becomes a transaction of mutual needs, where balance is key. Life is always like this. You might have a car and a house, but why settle for less? If it were you, which one would you choose? In modern China, many women feel strong emotions when searching for a romantic partner and will compete fiercely for male attention. Online dating and matchmaking add both hope and frustration. Tears, anxiety, and joy are common as they navigate love and societal demands.
你越不在乎他，我跟你讲，他会越喜欢。
The less you care about him, let me tell you, the more he'll like you. Why do women like men who don't care about them? This question actually shouldn't be oversimplified. Think about it. If a woman likes you even when you completely ignore her, what does that mean? It means your charm is strong, but it could also just mean her value is relatively low. In her daily life, there aren't many other men around, she's hungry, you know? But for a high-quality woman, she's constantly surrounded by suitors. If you completely don't care about her, she won't like you. For these high-value women, the kind of not caring that actually makes them obsessed is when a man seems interested but doesn't show it too obviously. After she's invested a lot of time and effort, the man still acts indifferent, like he's not afraid of losing her. That's the feeling she wants, this push and pull, this uncertainty. So the question is, why are men like this so attractive to women? It's simple. Under what circumstances would you act cold and uninterested toward a woman? There's only one answer: you don't think she's good enough for you. And why don't you think she's good enough? Because you believe, based on your own value, that you can do better. You think she's beneath you. So why do women like men who don't care about them? The answer is simple: women are wired to seek upward. If a man doesn't care about me, it's because his value is higher than mine, and that's exactly the kind of man I want. The men who do care about me, who treat me like a treasure. Their value is lower than mine. That's why some women keep chasing men who don't care about them, because those men are far more high value than they are. Once you understand this, you'll realize, if you have no value, don't pretend to be aloof or act like you don't care. Pursue her properly, put in the effort. The men who genuinely don't care and still attract women are usually high value. If you want to reach that level, start improving yourself right now. Follow me and learn how. Helping you is the best. She's 1.5 meters tall but demands a man who's 1.8 meters. Would you dare to marry such a beauty? 3 million yuan in dowry plus a man who looks like Daniel Wu, with a handsome face and an annual income of 1 million. Would you dare to set such high standards for a partner? Yang Xian, a girl from Chongqing, not only dares to demand these but also firmly believes they're not excessive at all. At 29 years old, she stands at 1.5 meters tall, has a high school education, and earns a monthly salary of 4,000 yuan. Yet she confidently insists that her man must be the ultimate tall, rich, and handsome Prince Charming. As a result, her perfect persona and partner criteria have sparked a nationwide debate, turning her dating journey into a farce. Yang Xian has been the school belle since childhood, with countless admirers. What she takes pride in isn't just her looks, she's also a skilled craftsperson, earning admiration in her social circle. Even wealthy businessmen have shown interest in her. However, this experience of being showered with attention has led her to develop almost delusional standards for a partner. Asterisk, over 1.8 meters tall, looks at least as good as Daniel Wu, earns 1 million a year, owns a house and a car, and gives me a 3 million yuan dowry at marriage. Handsome? Oh my god. Tall, handsome, and young, does he need to be rich? Of course. Must have a house and a car. Asterisk. Why must he have a house and a car? Because I don't have them myself. Yang Xian's demands gave even the matchmaking team a headache. She firmly believes only such a top-tier, tall, rich, and handsome man is worthy of her unparalleled beauty. After an exhaustive search, the team finally found a somewhat eligible candidate, Lai Liming, 24 years old, 1.85 meters tall, a graduate in engineering, now working as an actor with a monthly salary of 5,000 yuan. At their first meeting, Yang Xian tried to charm him with a song. Every time I wander alone I grow stronger. But Lai Liming remained unimpressed. When her singing failed to win him over, Yang Xian suddenly flew into a rage and began boasting about her happy life with her male best friends. Just then her phone buzzed, a text from one of them instantly freezing the atmosphere. Done filming yet? So how's the guy? Handsome? Let me see. The exposed message revealed a glimpse of Yang Xian's complicated love life. Not only does she have 3 male best friends, but she's also already in a relationship. Faced with Lai Liming's questions, Yang Xian acted dismissively. He's too petty. Ugh, just so stingy. I was just chatting with a friend. Even more absurdly, Yang Xian insisted that even if she were in a relationship, she wouldn't post about it on social media. Would you post about your relationship? No, I wouldn't. And I wouldn't cut ties with my male best friends either. Her multitasking in romance left Lai Liming completely exasperated, and he chose to end the ridiculous matchmaking session. Afterward, Yang Xian remained unrepentant, complaining to the host. He really was a bit petty. What's the big deal? She remains convinced that men like Lai Liming are beneath her. Her princess fantasy continues, but who knows if the next tall, rich, and handsome suitor will ever appear. One night I broke down in tears in front of him, hoping he would understand how truly reluctant I was to let go, yet he remained unmoved. A couple of days ago my emotions surged back and I kept venting, pouring out my feelings. I showed him my most vulnerable side, hoping he would see my sincerity. I fantasized that he might see through my metaphors and love me properly. Tell me, am I crazy?
少妇到底什么时候最
When does a young woman most resemble a man? Ladies, our attitudes toward our husbands can sometimes feel like a roller coaster ride. Take my best friend, for example. Normally, she can't stand the sight of her husband, but in the days right after her period ends, it's a completely different story. Suddenly, she finds him irresistibly handsome and just wants to cling to him all day. Turns out, about 7 days after a woman's period ends is her ovulation period. The body becomes extra sensitive and craves male companionship. But hey girls, let's not spoil them too much. If you get too impulsive, don't wear your husband out. If he can't keep up, don't panic, there are adult toys out there that feel amazing. Sometimes they understand us women even better than men do. And hey, you can also secretly get your husband something to boost his stamina. After all, marital harmony is super important. We can't let this kind of thing affect our relationships. If you want specific recommendations for good products, feel free to follow me. I'll share all the best stuff with you.
女人最喜欢的就是男人虐她，而不
What women love most is when a man challenges her, not when he obeys her. Even if she acts highly independent or appears to be a strong, career-driven woman, she still fears a man who can pinpoint her 3 deeply hidden vulnerabilities, because once discovered, she can't help but fall for him. First, women genuinely enjoy being challenged by men. This isn't baseless. Compared to men, women crave constant emotional stimulation. Use negative emotions to unsettle her, then counterbalance with positive emotions, creating a push and pull effect, rather than just giving constant praise. In emotional psychology, there's an 80-20 rule. Give her 80% positive emotions and 20% negative ones. This is like the carrot and stick strategy, keeping her emotionally invested. This is what's known as emotional tension. For example, if you're out together and she needs help, like opening a bottle, handing her a tissue, or carrying her bag, don't just obediently open the bottle and take a sip first. That'll annoy her. Instead, open your own bottle first and then hand it to her. That's emotional stimulation. Second, women don't actually like security. This might sound counterintuitive. You often hear women say they need security, but that's completely wrong. Over 91% of male followers who seek advice have relationship problems because they gave too much security. When women say they need security, it's actually an emotional plea from a lower status position to a higher status one, demanding proof of love. If a man falls for it, he drops into the lower status role. While women may not consciously want to control men, their biological and social disadvantages lead them to subconsciously test men, weeding out the weak. Only a strong man who doesn't let a woman dictate his actions, one with unshakable confidence, will earn her attraction. Men who cling to women get discarded. Finally, women prefer selfish men. This ties into the previous point, but the key is mindset. Instead of providing security or dedicating all your time, money, and energy to her, invest those resources into your own growth, education, career, and self-improvement. That's what makes you attractive. Even if you don't give her security, she'll still be drawn to you. But if a man obsesses over a woman, helps her grow, and neglects himself, the power dynamic shifts. Once she outvalues him, she'll lose respect for the simp. This is human nature. In short, learn to love yourself first. Only when you possess the ability to love should you love others. Self-love comes before loving someone else. Healthy, balanced relationships are built on this principle.
女人找男人就图这3种生理。
When women look for men, they're after just these 3 physiological needs. In reality, women are the least proper. They don't care about your house, your car, or even your bank account. They only care about the 3 physiological needs I'm about to mention. Even if you're dirt poor and not particularly well off, as long as you fulfill these 3 needs, she won't mind and might even pursue you actively. 1. Non-negotiable needs. What are non-negotiable needs? Simply put, women are emotional creatures, we all know this. Because of that, they often become highly pragmatic due to their emotions, such as acting selfish or cold toward you. This is all to satisfy their emotional impulses or save face. Deep down, she knows being cold and selfish isn't right, but because you keep giving in, she becomes increasingly unrestrained. It's like the broken window theory in emotional psychology. Once one window in a perfectly good house is broken, the collapse of the entire structure becomes inevitable. So how do you satisfy this non-negotiable need? First, don't adopt a give-up attitude, or she'll use moral superiority to keep attacking you. Instead, leverage her concern for appearances and employ a boiling frog strategy, slowly pushing her buttons until she eventually softens. Remember, what women fear isn't your lack of money, but you making them lose face. What they care about is how others perceive them. 2. Emotional needs. Building on the point about saving face beyond impulsiveness, women are often fragile and sensitive deep down. No matter how strong they appear, when faced with hardship, they're still vulnerable little girls in need of care. So what you must do is provide warmth and security when she encounters real difficulties or grievances. Only then will she open up to you. When the time comes, you can send her this message. I've noticed you've been unhappy lately. I don't know the reason, and if you don't want to talk about it, I won't pry. But I am genuinely worried about your well-being. Please don't push yourself too hard, because in my eyes, you're already more than good enough. This works because it's sincere. Not only does it show your supportive attitude, but it also gives her validation, maxing out the emotional value. No woman can resist this. In emotional psychology, this is called the compensation effect. 3. Loneliness needs. Here's something many guys don't know, a little-known fact: women are actually lonelier than men. This includes both physical and psychological loneliness. Of course, due to upbringing and societal norms, women are forced to hide this need. Even if they feel it, they'll play coy and rarely show it. So, to fulfill a woman's loneliness needs, you must try to break through her boundaries. This is similar to the broken window theory: boundary breaking only happens 0 times or endlessly. This is also why some playboys who don't seem all that impressive can win a woman's heart so quickly. Finally, I want to add that these 3 need-based techniques are broad strokes advice. The specifics require more detailed guidance. If you brothers run into unsolvable problems, like always feeling stuck just short of advancing the relationship, or her responding to everything but never initiating contact, or even her becoming increasingly dismissive from the start, you can always come to me. I'm always here.